Welcome back to Angela's Craft Room. Today I'm going through a technique called the wallpaper technique. You can use any stamp sets you like on this technique. You might even like to use 2 or 3 different stamp sets, but I'll just show you how we do this technique to start with. Now you will need, you'll see that I've already got some stamps on my block. You will need the largest block from Stampin' Up, which is block F, and it measures 12.4 by 15.2 centimeters. So what I've done there is I'm using stamp sets from Stamps from Flower Shop, and also some stamp sets from the Petite Petals stamp set, both from Stampin' Up, and I've just positioned them in there, and then I've just had these little ones that I've just tucked into there, and you'll see why as we go on. Now I'm just going to use an oversized piece of Whisper White, and we're going to be trimming that down to 5 1/4 by 4 inches to fit on our card. But just to start with, we've just got all that up on there, so we're just going to ink it up, and I'm inking it up with Bermuda Bay. Now with this technique you need to start in the middle, otherwise it's going to be harder for you to fill in the spots. Now it is a big acrylic block, so you need to press down, and you'll see as we go on what I'm doing. So you just ink it up again. Now I'm going to go trying to fill in as much, and you'll notice some of it will be going onto my grid paper, but that's fine. What the intention is that we need to cover that Whisper White as much as we can, with not too many gaps. We can always fill up some gaps afterwards, which I'll show you how we do that. But I'm just really loving this wallpaper technique that I've seen on Pinterest a lot, and so I'll just and you can make your own design series paper doing it this way. I'll show you an example at the end of the tutorial. But I actually used the sample I will show you at the end. I actually used a piece of 12" by 12" Whisper White cardstock, and using my black StazOn ink, I inked up, I'm just thinking where I'm placing, I inked up my Flower Shop stamp sets like I'm doing now, and I've done it on a full piece. I've done it on a full piece of Whisper White, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut them all out. I might just remove that one. Gets a bit tricky towards the end. Just remove that one. And you're going to get inky fingers, but now as you can see, I've got a few spots, so I've got one big stamp here, which I'm just going to ink up and put in there. And you can just see how I'm filling in the gaps. That one off and just pop a little one on there. Now then you can get your little ones and just go in there, and you can use different colors, you know, it's just your imagination or how you want to do it. But it's a great way of making a very unique background that no one else is going to have, or as I said, making your own design series paper. I think that will suffice because we're going to be trimming that down. So I'll just close my Bermuda Bay ink. Now I'm just going to bring in the trimmer quickly and just trim that down to 5 1/4 by 4. So it doesn't really matter, you can't see that, but I'm just lining that up at 4, trimming that off at 4, and then 5 1/4, and you'll see the effect that we've got then. So then we're left with a nice piece that size to go on the front of our card. So we're going to bring in a piece of basic black, which measures 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. Just look at where my bone folder is. So we're just going to go down there and down there. Now I do have a piece for inside the card, which measures 5 1/4, it should be by 4, which it is. Now I'm going to have my card opening like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the big stamp, and I put the Bermuda Bay ink away, forgetting that I need to stamp the inside of the card. I like to continue my cards on the inside. Just turn that around. Like that. And just grab my small flower. Like that. So yes, I have inky hands, so hopefully it won't transfer to the card. Now I'm just going to use some snail and adhere that inside the card, and then it's all ready to go. So just using my grid paper, as I always do, to line it up. Trying not to get my inky fingers. Now I'll close, just press it down like that. So you've got the inside of the card finished. Then what I'm going to do is I'm having this piece on the front, but I'm just going to put a piece of organza ribbon across It's always hard to tell which is the right side. Yeah. So all I'm going to do on the wrong side is just didn't think my snail wanted to work then. Just lining up that stamped piece on the grid paper, which will help me. And I just like to have it up a bit from the bottom, because I am going to put a sentiment on there. Just get my snips, and just because we only just need to have that over the edge. So I just put a bit of snail on the back, and we're just going to bring that over there and hope I've got it straight, which that looks pretty good. Then I've used a scrap piece of Bermuda Bay with a scrap piece of Sahara sand, and I've stamped Thinking of You in Bermuda Bay. Now that sentiment comes from the Sheltering Tree stamp set, Thinking of You. And just remember, the two stamp sets we used to stamp our front of our card were Petite Petals and also the Flower Shop. So I think I'll stick this onto the front of my card first, which is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I will have the link to this card on my blog at the bottom in the comments, so you can go and see all the supplies and colours I've used. So just lining that up on the grid paper. To about there. And then I'm just going to pop that onto there, which I'll just use some dimensionals for that. It's a very quick and easy card, and if you have a few pieces like I do of 12 by 12 already stamped up, you know, you can go and make quite a few cards this way very easily. Once again, it's the wallpaper technique, I'm calling it. And then I'm just going to grab some candy dots from the Brights selection. As I say, one good thing with stamping up is everything coordinates right across to their embellishments. So I'm just going to put 3 across the bottom there. Just to finish the card off. And all these products will be available on my blog. So that's our card finished. So that's using the Bermuda Bay colour and taking it through to the inside of the card, which I think just finishes it off very nicely. And the other one I did off camera, I just use StazOn black ink and carried it through there to the card. I really do like it in the black and white, and I will come back and do some note cards using this. And as promised, I'll just show you a piece of 12 by 12 that I have stamped up, and this is the piece that I'm going to go, that I'll just have to zoom out so you can see. That is the piece of 12 by 12. Now that was just a piece of 12 inch by 12 inch Whisper White cardstock from Stampin' Up, and I just used the Flower Shop stamp set and the Petite Petals and the big block, and I've created my own piece of unique designer series paper, and I just think it's a really fantastic technique. Now I will come back at a later stage and show you how to get 8 to 10 pieces out of there for your note cards. So that's out of one piece of 12 inch by 12 inch which you've created yourself. So it's going to be very unique, and you can use any stamp sets whatsoever. So once again, that's the wallpaper technique. And just lastly, zooming for you to have a look at those close up. And I'd just like to thank you for sharing some of your time today with me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next tutorial. Have a lovely day.